Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are welcome to this news geopolitical conference dedicated to world news. In the headlines of international news, China has just made an announcement which makes panic the Pentagon, which upsets all of Washington's plans because these are unexpected announcements. China has just announced the strengthening its cooperation, in particular military, with North Korea. And who talks about North Korea talks about Kim Jun Un. This gentleman who is really clean shaven, this gentleman who has a feeling anti-Western taken to the extreme. Kim Jun Un is not in the business of Westerners, and North Korea does against South Korea. However, South Korea South is in a military alliance with America, Japan. These latter time, they delivered regularly to joint exercises for intimidate, influence North Korea. North Korea also in its own way has managed to brilliantly test several missiles, drones, at least in the framework of military technology North Korean to show that his country was ready, that the country was ready to face America. As proof, Kim Jong-un presented intercontinental ballistic missiles specially manufactured to be able to hit Washington. On the Chinese side, nothing is going well anymore between China and America because America has taken a position of competition, rivalry, enmity, and especially of unprecedented adversity with the China. What if Washington fought? Since Joe Biden's anger to avoid that North Korea is in an unprecedented rapprochement with the Russia, if they fought to avoid that China is getting closer of Russia and North Korea, this time it's absolutely the opposite is the case this time. So China decided to put its joint efforts with North Korea, and that's what's shaking up the Pentagon. And so within the framework of this geopolitical conference, ladies and gentlemen, it is from this news that we're going to talk. But of course, before to continue, I humbly ask you of share the conference. Put a lot of likes. Don't forget to leave your different opinions in comment. And if you are new by here, please, of course, click on the subscribe button to subscribe. This allows you to never miss our conferences. So let's go deep into it. Chinese statement, China made its statement, and this Chinese statement, it is political support for Korea. North, but an assumed support. You know that North Korea is under sanctions severe of the United States of America, the UN, and so on, in relation to the development of its program nuclear, but that does not prevent the China. So the Chinese government has announced that it wanted to strengthen cooperation strategic with North Korea, strengthen strategic cooperation with North Korea on the plans regional and international. And so the China has mentioned the desire to preserve peace, stability, and justice. Now, these are words, when the China uses them, you have to understand really the meaning to be able to implying what China is counting on undertake with North Korea. The following words, preserve peace, the stability and justice. It has another meaning in Chinese language. These are words that are coded, so it's coded terminology. In Chinese diplomatic language, peace and stability means counterbalance to American hegemony. When the Chinese say we want to preserve peace and stability is to constitute a counterweight to American hegemony. So it's for form a blockade against America. That's what they call it, peace and stability. Preserve peace and stability, because for them it is America that comes to disturb everything on the peninsula. Same pardon, the peninsula on the part of Eurasian, it is America which disturbs everything, not only there but all over the world. So for them, peace and stability cannot to be preserved, that when they form a bloc to constitute a counterweight to American hegemony. So first understand the meaning of this word. And so when in Chinese diplomacy we talk about justice preserving justice, this refers to the contestation of the model Western. Preserve justice, it is to challenge the Western model. So we have to understand by that this cooperation, which is based on the preservation of peace and the stability and justice. It is therefore a cooperation which aims to constitute a bloc against American hegemony and obviously to stand up against the model Western. That's what it means, clearly. Those who know the coded language of diplomacy, Chinese people, have already understood that obviously the United States of America knows this coded language. America knows this language. They have so understood the message. But the world layman cannot understand. If you are not in diplomacy international, you can't understand. And if you don't know, the Chinese diplomatic tradition. You can't understand. So, this is a very good message calculated. Beijing thus reaffirms that Pyongyang is not an outcast but a recognized strategic partner. So, it's not just anyone anymore. North Korea is not just anyone but a truly strategic partner recognized. What's going on? The United States in recent times, it must be said that America is multiplying joint exercises with South Korea, North South Korea, Japan, and then without limiting itself there, it proceeds to strategic bomber deployments and nuclear-powered submarines in the area. And it hurts very, very badly China. It hurts China. It hurts too North Korea. So what is it? Should be done. So Beijing's reaction from Pyong is to do such cooperation, such strengthening their cooperation in the face of this grid. Okay? So beyond that, it is also a message of Asian unity since the China bets on North Korea for serve as a deterrent springboard, while that Pyongyang benefits from the political and economic coverage of Beijing. So it's a good synergy of action. Both parties find their interest quietly. And so we leave towards a Beijing-Pyong axis facing the bloc Indo-Pacific. They are putting themselves in together. It's a common front reaffirmed. Yes. So the cooperation that is announced now exceeds the framework bilateral. It is a cooperation which is part of the global rivalry between the Western Camp Quad AUKUS and the Asiatic blockade China, Russia, North Korea. That's it. That it is. In any case, what remains clear while waiting the Pentagon is in thinking about what to do, what to take as measure, since this union is in the process to hurt them. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the front page of the news. I'll come back to you with some new information. It was the voice from your humble servant, the Samouraï.